As I alluded to this yesterday, the final two videos in the question and answer session involved 4 of the more hot button topics. No, not how does a YouTube auditor manage to fuck himself every time I say so. But 4 topics in which people are bound to argue over. So, before I start this topic, just remember this. No matter how you feel about these topics, no matter how much you will not change your position on the topic, there is bound to be someone else who disagrees with you and has the same ideal that nobody will change their opinion. So, it's pointless to argue this shit in the comment section. I don't expect anyone to change their opinions on the following topics, but I'm merely going to be presenting you with the facts of each topic where you can formulate your own opinion. That being said, the next questions are actually similar, and 2 people asked these politically based questions, so I'm just going to combine them and answer them in one full question. Hurley, as the man, has 2, and he wants to know, if you were elected president, what policies would you implement and what changes would you make to the U.S. to get it back in shape? And do you think Obama's the worst president or inherited a bad situation is getting a raw deal? The second person, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, Egg My Kids. I have no fucking idea. But anyway, he would like to know my opinion on the state of our country and government, and in my mind, what are the 3 top issues for our delegates moving forward? Also, what are my opinions on President Obama? And as you can see, these are pretty much 2 identical questions. Now, I want to actually answer these questions out of order because one leads into another, and most of this is political bullshit that I can't be bothered dealing with. Now, here in the US, we have a number of laws in place to make sure that we don't end up with a dictator. In a number of the more fucked up and corrupt countries, you see that rulers have absolute control with no ability to challenge them or their authority. So here in the US, we created a system of checks and balances where one person doesn't have all the power. The problem with that is, while it sounds good on paper, in practice, it makes for ineffective presidents. That's the reality of how the presidency works. You don't make decisions, you only approve decisions. You can't create initiatives, you can only have people start them for you. Your biggest goal is to make sure that you hire people that can get your decisions done for you, and you can get people who agree with you elected into office. It's not only about becoming president, it's about make sure your political group wins also. Obama, like any other president, has limited ability to do anything. He doesn't pass laws, he doesn't make laws. He can say what he wants with a certain law, but it's up to Congress to create those laws for him to approve. It's up to Congress to approve how much of a budget the U.S. can spend or borrow. Now, put that into context with a CEO from the company. Imagine if all a CEO's decisions were made by the people who report to him or her. Now, think about that for a second. You're the head of a company, but the only thing you can do is approve or deny changes that the people of your company agree that they want. Imagine a CEO wants to roll out a plan that makes money. Nope, can't do it because the employees have to agree to it first and present that idea back to the CEO. Now, I'm not going to get into greater detail other than that because it's far more complex comparing a CEO to a president, but that's the basic gist of it. Obviously, running a company and running a country are 2 completely separate things. But if you compare the 2, that's the equivalent of what a U.S. president has to deal with. Now, without boring people on politics, because it's obviously not a fun topic, Congress is broken into 2 parts. You have the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate is run by people who support Obama, while the House is run by people who oppose Obama. So let's say Obama says today, we're going to have pizza for dinner. For the most part, he can't just snap his fingers and let there be pizza. No, he has to ask the Senate and the House to present this idea for pizza. The Senate has no problem with that. Obama wants pizza, we support pizza, let's have pizza. But the House doesn't support Obama, so they want hamburgers. They want to submit a plan for burgers tonight. Well, the Senate says, we're not doing burgers, the president wants pizza. The House says, pizza is un-American, so we want burgers and will not let the president have a pizza day. Since the House has to start all the proposals, they submit a proposal to the Senate for burgers. The Senate doesn't even want to bother because it's not something the president's going to want. Essentially, that's why nothing is ever done in the country. The House needs to explain why they don't like pizza and will say it's a bad choice for people and the burger is better. But you're not running the country. You're not the president. Now, instead of the Senate defending the choice for pizza, what do? They say, here's the offer for pizza, take it or leave it. And this is why nothing gets done. Since Obama has been in office, the fewest number of agreed upon bills between the 2 portions of Congress have been passed in history. Think about that for a second. The fewest number of bills have been submitted to President Obama. The House, the people that do not support Obama, have submitted tons of proposals to the Senate that the Senate's not listening to. Why? Because most of them are the exact opposite of what Obama wants. Critics who point to Obama as the worst president ever do not look at the big picture. Presidents, by law, are restricted from making too many decisions on their own, and thus, depend on the two parts of Congress that never agree with each other. Now, since Obama's re-election, he's decided, fuck these guys who don't want to do anything or get anything done. I'm going to use executive decision power to get things done that you guys aren't doing. And as you can imagine, the House doesn't like that. They feel that Obama should follow the laws that say Congress is supposed to do the work for him. Well, when they're not doing their jobs in the first place, how do you expect to get anything done? You can't cockblock someone from doing their job and then turn around and say you're not doing your job. Think of it like building a house. Imagine a contractor is going to build your house and he tells you he needs these materials to build the home. You have to go out and buy these materials for him to be able to build your house. But you don't buy the materials to build the home that he requested. You then blame him for not building your home. Well, what if he doesn't have the materials? How do you expect him to build a home? How can you blame him when he said, this is what I need to do my job, and you don't provide it? U.S. politics are a mess because they're too busy blaming each other and cock-blocking each other. They have no urge to work together, which is what causes the problems in the first place. And this leads into the first question that you mentioned. What policies would I change? If I was president, first of all, there isn't much I could do because, as I mentioned before, part of the job is that you're restricted by Congress. And when Congress doesn't want to work, you get stuck with their mess. But in theory, let's say I was president. First policy is I want total dictatorship power. I'm not lying, man. Fuck that shit. I'm a nice dictator. But if you're putting me in a position where you want me to fix shit, I need the authority to fix shit. So step one, remove all the bullshit in my way that prevent me from doing my job. This starts with cutting down on the members in Congress. To start, I would eliminate the House of Representatives completely. And I would reduce the Senate to 1 senator per state. That's it. I just went from 535 people making decisions down to 50. I just went from having our taxes pay close to 3,000 different salaries. That's when you include all their staff members and all the people who are on the payroll and shit like that. All the pensions for people not doing anything. Down to 50. And their staff members would be reduced to 3 staff members per senator. Guess what? In one fell swoop, I just saved close to $2 billion annually towards taxpayers in salary alone. Let alone the waste, the paperwork, office space, expenses, gridlock, car allowances, meal allowances, all that other bullshit. I just saved a ton of money by switching to Geico. No, really, man. While the government refuses to show how much they cost the taxpayer, I'm going to guess that after you remove all these assholes, you're going to save close to $3 billion a year. Technically, that's a drop in the bucket compared to how much debt we're in, but it's a start in the right direction. Next, I would eliminate parties. Right off the bat, we have 2 main parties. We have the Democrats and Republicans. We also have some smaller parties, but those are the main 2. I would eliminate all parties. No more of this bullshit where you only vote with the people that are on your team. Now you have no team. There is no Democrat versus Republican. There is no red versus blue. You run and judge the issues based on what you personally believe as opposed to what a party is telling you. No more of this garbage. Oh, my party's telling me to vote no, so I'm going to vote no. Fuck you. The biggest problem right now is that assholes can't think for themselves. They think based on what others tell them to. In the absence of these assholes not thinking for themselves, the Constitution clearly states this country is for the people and by the people. Well, motherfucker, that's exactly what we're going to do. Congress should not get to decide the votes on items. It should be put to public referendums where people vote on what they believe in. Not total policy things like wars and budgets and Supreme Court level ruling decisions, but basic shit like federal taxation, property rights, shit like that. Another huge change that I want to make is politicians can no longer accept money from corporations for campaigns. If people want to donate, it goes to a general fund in which politicians must split. Right now, companies can pretty much buy any politician they want by giving them millions and millions of dollars, knowing that they're going to get favorable decisions in return. All the donations will now go towards one fund, and any illegal contributions will result in fraud lawsuits punishable by 20 years in prison. I know that's extremely harsh, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm not playing games anymore. You know, personally, I think the majority of U.S. laws are far too lenient, but that's another day for another topic. We're not going to talk about that bullshit. The final change I will make is how the president is elected in the first place. This electoral house of bullshit has got to fucking go. No more of this shit, man. Just do it by popular vote. You know, I'm not going to explain the details, but we'll just say that if you live in a state that votes against the candidate you like, your vote is meaningless. Fuck that. Popular vote, then your vote actually means something. Now, I could seriously go on and on and on about this topic of how to fix shit, but I don't want to ramble on for over 20 minutes up in this motherfucker. But we'll just say everything that I mentioned is a place to start change. And the way this country does business, the way we do politics, is absolutely wrong. And having me in office, I would eliminate all that shit and run this place like a business the way it should have been run in the first place. Next two questions from AVX Gamer. In the last question and answer session, he asked if there was one person I can kill, who would it be? And I said Fred Phelps. Now that he's dead, who would be the next person on my list? You know what's funny? Ever since that motherfucker died, people were mentioning in my videos that my target or prediction actually came true. So for my encore, I just want to go for a scumbag and hope my prediction comes true. Kim Kardashian, can someone please tell me how this cunt makes millions of dollars each fucking year without having a single fucking talent? You know what the one talent is? Sucking dick. That's it. This bitch and her whole fucking family made millions of dollars because she made a sex tape. I mean, isn't that disgusting? Doesn't that just show you something is seriously fucking wrong with this country? That a talentless bitch can make a sex tape and make millions of dollars and turn herself into a fucking industry. Honestly, putting a bullet through that woman's skull would instantly improve the morals of society. As a bonus, hopefully Kanye West is right behind her. Second question, and we're starting to get into the controversial shit. Should gay marriage be legalized? As for gay marriage, I'll make this simple. There is no reason anyone, gay or straight, should be denied the benefits of being a couple. No reason. Now, we can sit here and argue over the points of people being gay. Oh, it's against nature. Oh, it's in the Bible that it's wrong. Oh, it's nasty to see two wieners rubbing against each other. Meanwhile, adoptions are legal, priests molest little boys all the time, and lesbian porn is the most watched genre on Pornhub. Hey, no judgment. I was over there for research, motherfucker. Now, I'm not going to argue the points of being gay and whether you're born gay or whether you choose to be gay, because some irrational people think that humans will one day walk into the shower heterosexual and then they're going to walk out gay with a limp wrist and then think everything is so super. No, really, there are irrational people who have that thought. It is so fucking stupid. You can't talk logic with someone like that. So let's just eliminate all the bullshit from the argument. There is no denying gay people exist and they deserve to be treated with the same rights and liberties as heterosexual people. Marriage and the rights and benefits attributed to marriage are one of those liberties. So yes, I see no reason why gay couples should be denied that right to be married like any heterosexual couple. However, here in the United States, I do not agree with it being made legal at the federal or national level. I do not agree that a law should be made or an amendment to our Constitution should be made regarding marriage. I believe it should be left at the state level. States should have the ability and the right to approve gay marriage in their states, although I would hope all the states would come to their senses and not deny marital rights. As of right now, less than half the 50 states approve gay marriage, but I'm going to venture to say within the next 3 to 5 years, the overwhelming majority will approve gay marriage, and probably 10 years from now, the entire country will have gay marriage approved. But for the most part, states right now are in legal battles over gay marriage since the recent Supreme Court ruling struck down the DOMA laws that prevented gay marriage in the first place. So, it's possible that even before that timeline, all the states will actually approve gay marriage and whatnot. Although, on a side note, there is something I do want to discuss, and that's the concept and wording of marriage. Now, a number of religions believe that marriage is a religious right, and in the case of Christianity, a sacrament. And religion is under the belief that they control the rights of marriage, and this couldn't be any further from the truth than you can imagine. Now, later in the question and answer session, there's going to be a question about the Bible I'm going to tackle, but the argument of marriage is semi-related to that question as well. Did you guys know that the word marriage was not intended to mean a partnership, and it has nothing to do with holy matrimony? The origin of the word is actually more in line with inheritance when someone dies. Let's take a quick stroll through history. When the Roman Empire rose to power and they wanted to write the New Testament, they tasked the Greeks because they were vastly superior at writing and record keeping. The first New Testaments from the Bible were written in ancient Greek. They used a form of common Greek, similar to slang, in writing the first entries of the New Testament. They also needed to translate the Old Testament from ancient Hebrew to keep stories consistent. When they had to describe holy matrimony, Christianity's union of two people, the Greeks had no word for this. There was no definition for the union of a man and woman because the Greeks believed in polygamy. You had multiple wives and you had multiple children with them. So this concept of one man to one woman was brand new to them. They needed a new word. And in the explanations they were given, they used a word that translated to marriage. Marriage was actually a legal term of inheritance. A man dies, passing down his possessions to his wives and multiple children, which, by the way, was executed by a statesman, or what we would consider a politician these days. Essentially, marriage was like a will when someone died. In using these words, holy matrimony was changed to the word marriage because the Greeks didn't know what else to call it. Except the Greeks use the term as an inheritance, not a union. So when churches oppose gay marriage, the reality is marriage was never intended to be for unions. It was for wills and inheritances. What churches oppose is gay holy matrimony. And there is a unique distinction. When you are married by the government, you are given a marriage certificate to signify a legal marriage. When you get married in a church, what does the priest normally say? We are gathered here today in holy matrimony. But when you get married, what do you receive? A marriage certificate approved by the state, not the church. Christian opposition to gay marriage is beyond hypocritical because they don't even know the meaning of the word. Has nothing to do with partnerships. What Christians oppose is gay holy matrimony. They don't have a leg to stand on since marriages were executed by politicians, not priests, not religious figures. It shows that the people will believe anything that's told to them without actually doing any independent research on their own. It's sad, but true. Marriage has absolutely nothing to do with holy matrimony, and that is what Christians should be opposing. Holy matrimony, not gay marriage. Anyways, 4 videos down this week, 1 more to go, and that one's gonna have guns and religion. Yeah, 2 topics that somehow shouldn't go hand in hand, but always seem to do so. Anyways, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in the final video in which I answer all your questions.